Hey guys, how's it going? I want to talk about spin rate today, and I want to talk about the role that that has in an athlete's ability to hit the ball. Okay, so often when people level up, meaning like they're going to be playing at a level of baseball that they're not accustomed to playing at, they really struggle with barreling the ball initially. A lot of times that results in them just missing really, really consistently and a lot more than they should. So we're going to look at some major league swings, and these guys aren't leveling up. Most of these guys that we're going to be looking at have been playing in the big leagues for a while. We're really only going to look at a couple pitches. I just want to use it to explain a concept. So I'm just going to put it on a slower speed here so we can take a look at it. Okay, so let's look at some of these Scherzer fastballs, and then we're going to look at some Scherzer changeups right behind it. And I want you guys to try to think about why are these hitters missing? Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go through it. So when we look at this hitter he's not late on the fastball, so he's not missing the fastball because it's blowing by him because of the speed. He's swinging under the fastball because he's just swinging in the wrong location. Now Scherzer has really high spin rate on his fastball. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but he spins the ball really fast. So essentially, that almost like acts like a rise ball. Now, is it possible to actually make a ball rise when you're like a major league pitcher in a when you're throwing the ball overhand? Like, no, it's not possible to do that, but it is possible to affect how fast the ball drops or how slow the ball drops when you spin it backwards. So this is also true, like if your son or daughter, actually more son because spin rate's a little bit different in softball than it is in baseball. But if your son is like 10 and they're playing like majors little league for the first time, often what you're going to see happen is that when they get in the game, the pitchers are going to be throwing harder. And often when I see video of little leaguers missing the ball, it's not because they're getting blown away by the speed of the fastball. They're swinging at the right time, but they're really swinging in the wrong location. And the reason for that is because in the last 10 to 15 feet of ball flight, when the ball is approaching the plate, it's really, really difficult to see the ball. Actually, you can't really see it. So when you get to that like 10 to 15 foot mark away from home plate, you kind of have to make a gamble about where you expect that ball to be. And you kind of see that in these swings because if these guys had like pinpoint control and they knew exactly where this ball was going to be, they would have hit it and they wouldn't have swung under all these balls. Now, the same is true, for your son who's playing majors little league or your son who's playing varsity baseball for the first time as a freshman or a sophomore. He's probably swinging under the ball because the ball is spinning faster than he's accustomed to. So the gambles and the guesses that he's making about where he's swinging often turn out to be wrong because that hitter is so used to the ball coming in at a certain spin rate that the ball ends up in a different spot than they expect it to. So now let's look at changeups. Okay, so we're gonna look at Scherzer again. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'll put it on 0.5 speed. Maybe it was actually 0.25. So if we take a look at this now, Hodgkins was on time. He didn't miss this ball because he was really, really early. He missed this ball because he was over it. So often when you see changeups being thrown in the big leagues, yeah, you will see guys that get way out in front of changeups, but often these guys just swing over the top of the ball because the spin rate on changeups is slower than that of a fastball. The ball just the bottom falls out of it. You expect it to go in one location and it actually goes in another. So the spin rate adjustment is probably why your son or daughter, or son, probably son, is struggling to make contact in games when he's playing at a higher level. So how do we train that? That's the question. So what if when you're doing your training, you worked on spots that you made contact with on the ball, so you learn to move up and down the ball when the ball is coming in. So let's think about it this way, right? So I'm just gonna go Google. Cool. So here's a baseball. Not super interesting, but let's just click on this picture, see if we can get a big picture of it. Okay, cool. So like what if when you were taking batting practice, instead of just trying to aim in the exact same location when you're taking BP, so let's say that like you want to hit the ball and you want to have like a launch angle of 20 degrees or something like that, right? You probably need to hit the ball at about like right where my mouse is right here, if you guys can see that. Um, but the reality is if that pitcher or the batting practice thrower is just throwing batting practice at like a normal spin rate, likely you're really going to be in trouble when you get in the game when the pitcher's throwing the ball a lot harder with a much higher spin rate. So what if in batting practice, part of your batting practice was to be able to work up and down the ball so that you can make the vertical adjustments that are necessary to be able to hit balls in games, right? So one of the drills that I do with hitters a lot, I have them try to hit different locations of the ball during batting practice. So before I throw the pitch, I'll say bottom, which that'll mean that they're trying to make contact with the ball about right here. Before I throw a pitch, I'll say middle. They'll hit the ball right here where this mouse is. Okay? I'll say top. Then they aim for this. And then I literally have calls where I'd say over, where they'll swing over the top of the ball, and other calls where I say under, and they swing under the ball. So, guys, it's really, really important for hitters, especially really high-level hitters that are playing, elite level competition, to be able to move up and down the ball so they can make those vertical adjustments. Because the reality is if you want to smash like fastballs, like really, really high level fastballs that have high spin rates, you need to swing really, really high above where your eyes perceive that ball to be, because the ball is going to drop less. Like Harper's been quoted saying that if you face really high level pitching, the ball actually rises. Now, it doesn't. It just goes on it drops much less than we expect it to. So that said, if your eyes are telling you that the ball is here, like where this big baseball is in the center of my screen, but when the ball comes in, it's actually like up here where my mouse is, then you're going to be consistently missing under that ball if you just aim right at the ball. So you actually need to aim over the ball in order to smash that pitch. So being able to kind of divorce where your eyes think the ball is going to be and where you swing is a really, really important thing for hitters to work on, because often when people miss, they're just swinging under. And this is what I see in the majority of new Little League players when they're playing like at the highest level of Little League, and new varsity players as well, because the spin rates are so different and you're playing against kids that are much older than what you've played against in the past. The spin rate's much higher, and often what ends up happening is hitters just consistently miss under the ball over and over and over again. And that's something that, the only way that you can fix that is just by, aiming higher. If you adjust your sights, you aim higher, you're going to consistently hit the ball. So this is definitely something that I recommend you guys working on. And this drill where you move up and down the baseball and actually, cue the hitter to miss the ball, either over or under the ball, can really have significant effect on how good hitters do in games. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe to my page, whether you're looking this on Facebook or YouTube. I really appreciate all the support, guys, and hope you're having a great day.